And the thing is, I do believe there was talk about these things. I believe if we study history, the Confederates were able to shoot pterodactyls, back in the Civil War, and they spread these things out. Anybody can look it up online.
Google it
They
yourself.
spread these things out, and this is a historical fact. So, they spread this thing out, and it's got a huge winglet. It was a pterodactyl they shot. So, of course, these things have been around. Now, they went extinct, obviously, slowly, but surely. And so...
What I'm saying is Jesus wrote a dinosaur to work. That's history. It's in the Bible. How to Train Your Dragon.
Historical facts.
And if you don't believe it, do your own research. Pull up Google. You'll find the picture, I promise.
Oh my god.
Thank you, John Gleason, Godless engineer, for gifting me this beautiful moment. Y'all remember when they tried to cancel Steven Spielberg for posing with an animatronic triceratops animal rights activist?
Back it up.
Hit it from the back.
Cloaca. Historical facts.
Eat my ass, BP. You're down here bailing on the rest of us because you don't want to process your grief and shame like a normal person by drinking and mistreating strangers.
No, Rick. It is you who must nibble my cloaca, or bird asshole.
Everyone knows what a cloaca is.
Back in the Civil War, and they spread these things out. Anybody can look it up online. They spread these things out, and this is a historical fact. So, they spread this thing out, and this has got a huge winglet. It was a pterodactyl they shot. So, of course, these things have been around. Now, they went extinct, obviously, slowly, but surely. And so...
Paul Bunyan was sharing some Funyuns with his pet velociraptor.
Whoa.
Oh, you thought it was an ox? Roll back the clock. Let me knock the socks off. Historical facts.
I didn't cut out. You heard me. Are you a pervert or something? Okay.
What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless Engineer, and I critically analyze Apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Tonight, we're going to be taking a look at Andy Bannister, and he claims that Christianity definitely has not impeded moral progress. I highly disagree with Andy's point here, primarily because religion is a big factor in, how can I put this nicely? It's a big factor in restricting moral progress. And we've seen this in various ways. So, thank you so much. Oh, crap. So sorry there, Daniel. I didn't have the notifications on. David says good night. Well, good night there, David. Hope you have a good night there, bud. Hope you have a great weekend, and I guess we won't see you next week because next week is Christmas. I hope you have a great Christmas there, David. I hope you get a lot of presents from Santa Claus or whatever. We got Zach Clark with a member chat saying, I'm here alive for the first time in forever. Fergal, Burgle, Manergal, Burgle. I think that's something that Matt Dillahunty says, yeah. And then we got Miss Chrismer, who says, free 30-month chat. Yay, love you, John, and keep up the good work. Here's to another 30 months. Campa. I'm not sure what Campa means. That's a new one. I'll have to look that up on Urban Dictionary. But anyways, so Andy Bannister is going to be defending the point that Christianity actually pushes for moral progress, or is actually, I guess, the moral absolute that we should adhere to. So we're going to be taking a look at that tonight if you want to fuck around and find out why Andy Bannister just totally ignores all of history and thinks that Christianity hasn't held back moral progress. Then please stay tuned. In a second. Hold on. I gotta get this going. Boom. There. Cam Pie? Oh, okay, Cam Pie. Sorry, I didn't I didn't see. I'm not sure if it had the I in there. I probably just misread it. You know, I'm dyslexic as fuck. Oh, yep, I see it. Cam Pie. I thought it was 2 exclamation points because, you know, old people shit where I can't see right. Anyways, if you're new to the channel here, if you don't know, a portion of the revenue generated by GE, whether that comes from memberships or super chats or just watching our videos here, goes to a charity each month. And I do believe this month we're going to be donating to a charity for the Kentucky. It's a tornado relief fund for the people up in Kentucky. So if you want to help us out, consider sending a super chat or becoming a member here. It's rather cheap and you get a lot of stuff for it. So definitely consider all of that. Now, before we get into tonight's show, we don't have a shitty ass science from Bro Cephas, but what we do have is we're gonna have a sermon by Bro Cephas. Yeah, we're gonna have a Bro Cephas sermon. You know, anytime an apologist comes up and starts talking about an apologist starts talking about morality as it pertains to you know, the Bible and Christianity and everything like that. Like, you know, Bro Cephas has got to get up there and correct everybody about their shit. Oh, can you smell the pumpkin shit? Spice? Elizabeth Richardson sniffing that. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot to do new things. Anyways, I Heart Dog says for the KY Tornado Fund. Thank you so much there, I Heart Dogs. And then I Heart Dogs is the one that was sniffing some pumpkin spice. And then we got Elizabeth Richardson who says, I've been MIA for a few weeks, so here's my weekly tithe. Hope you all have a great holiday next week. Thank you so much there, Elizabeth and I Heart Dogs. Appreciate y'all so much. So, like I said, we're not going to have a shitty ass science, and I don't have any Today I Learns, but I do have some comments and a tweet that I want to go over with you guys. So we're going to be doing that. And then ripping Andy Bannister apart for a little bit. SN Balmung says it's 2:30 a.m. over on this side of the Atlantic, but I guess there are worse things. I could randomly be waking up in the middle of the night. Yeah, I mean, I would hope that you don't wake up randomly in the middle of the night. I mean that's that happens to me on occasion, but that's generally just because I got to take some insulin or some shit. Anyways. Thank you guys so much for all of this support early on in the stream. But I know what you guys are here for. You guys are here for comments, Bro Cephas, and a response video. Let's get on into it. So first up, we've got this tweet here that I just thought was funny. And I know people don't like it when I get political, even though like my channel's always been about where religion and politics meet and just politics in general. This is kind of funny, I thought, because it says, we should tax the ultra wealthy and billionaires shouldn't exist. Yeah, I'm definitely in that camp. But then this guy I went to school with who makes $35K a year, clutcheth my pearls. Don't taketh my pearls away. Gobble till you wobble, y'all. Kitty the atheist is gobbling till she wobbles and says, my 7-year-old son got his second COVID vax dose today. Was a badass about it too. So proud of him. Get vaccinated. Yep, Xander was the same way. I mean, he took it. He didn't even cry about it or nothing, which is more than I can say about most people. Huh? Well, true. He's almost 12. He shouldn't cry about it. I do want to report that our live stream tonight is already limited to no ads. So Thank you so much for all super chats and everything for monetizing this stream. You guys are awesome. And then Who's Your Buddy said, you and KC must be awesome for me to hang around this long. Oh, I take that as a compliment. Yeah, I think we are pretty awesome. We're pretty good people. Yeah. We're the shittiest. Sorry, we're the shittiest people. By the way, just in case you guys don't know, we're horrible. But I think this is funny that a lot of people don't understand what it means. Like when people say to tax the ultra rich and the billionaires, making sure that they actually pay their way, because as of right now, I do believe that like a poor family pays more in taxes than like fucking Elon Musk. I mean, that there's something wrong in this society when that is the case. When the IRS will come after you if they think you owe $2,000 in taxes when you don't really owe them $2,000 in taxes, and they threaten to take your home, which you don't even have. You live in an apartment.
Can you smell?
That is, there's something
spice
wrong there, because the IRS won't even go after billionaires like Elon Musk. They just won't. And so it's kind of weird. If this sounds like a very specific niche situation, you're dead on accurate. Balls on, dead on balls accurate. Oh, happy birthday, Kitty! I didn't know it was her birthday. Oh, okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Kitty. Happy birthday to you. Nope. She didn't ask for her ears to bleed, but that's what she got. Anyways, so I thought that was funny. Hellbound Hillbilly said, how dare you get political again? I know. Fuck me. Right in the asshole. All right. let me change the comment here. So we do have some serious comments tonight. That was the one political thing to get into. All of these comments are going to be coming from my carrier stream, because apparently some people were upset. A lot of people showed support. Some people were upset. Boss D says, I guess I kind of don't understand. I always considered JA and HK to be on the same side, debunking Christianity and young earth creationism. This is the second video I know of that directly addresses HK's videos. GE, if you want to have Carrier on, and that's great, but calling out a fellow YouTuber seems like it gives young earth creationists the opportunity to say, see, these guys just have to attack everyone. They can't even get along amongst themselves, and they just want clicks and views. Okay, for one thing, I didn't do that live stream with Carrier for clicks and views. I did it because mythicism is one of those subjects that I'm passionate about, and I knew that I could get Carrier on to directly rebut Bart Ehrman, and since Bart just refuses to engage with Carrier on this topic, or rather he would engage in somebody that's not in the best scholarly position on the topic. So I mean, it amazes me that Holy Kool-Aid would have Bart on like that and not push back harder. I mean, he tried to push back a little bit, but I mean, it just seemed like it was like a fake kind of pushback that he gave Bart Ehrman in that interview. And anyways, one thing that distinguishes at least me from people in the religious community is that I feel like, calling people out on false information that they provide is integral. And so if Holy Kool-Aid is going to have somebody on that pushes bad information, then I don't mind getting an expert on to directly refute what Holy Kool-Aid's guest says. And so I really don't think that this is a matter of, GE versus Holy Kool-Aid. Because in my first response to Holy Kool-Aid, I thought that it was really amicable, very respectful. I gave him credit where credit was due. I just disagreed with him on some things. And I think that a healthy disagreement in the community is actually good. I don't see it as like a negative thing that creationists can, point to and be like, oh, hey, look, they can't even keep shit straight between themselves. See, the atheists aren't this monolithic thing. I mean, it's like I've heard it compared to herding cats, and it's very much that way. Because no two atheists are going to agree on every single thing. And so healthy disagreement's good. And I don't think that anybody should shy away from it. And I especially don't think that, we should allow ourselves to become dogmatic in that way by not disagreeing with each other. Anyways, next up on the comments, we got Nick, who says, Carrier is a very interesting and unique voice, but every time he tries to discredit Bart, he only hurts himself. I mean, I kind of feel like the only way Rick could hurt himself when he discredits Bart is like face palming, like, and like the harder face palms just becomes an effort in beating yourself up. I think that's the only way that he could really hurt himself. Bart is just really bad at that particular topic. But I mean, the reason why Bart's bad at the topic is because he just reads what the Christians put out about the historicity of Jesus. And then he kind of comes in.
This'll buy me a cranberry log.
What are you talking about, cranberries? Oh, no. Oh, well, no, because I don't have my thing in. I can't hear the alerts. Yeah. Cranberry log. Right. No, that's okay. But the reason why Bart is bad on this is that, he takes the Christian mainstream position and then he kind of inches off of it a little bit, but he it's kind of like he's drunk and trying to walk that fine line of the Christian mainstream scholars, it's just that he's had one too many to drink and he's like, all right, I'm going to say this. And then I'm going to say that.
Donating this
And
much
it
money only
just
secures
comes
your
off-
seat in hell.
It just comes off kind of weird. Oh, man. Quentin going to hell. Quentin says, sending in my weekly tithe. Jason Cul-de-sac says, shh, you're blowing our atheist covert ops.
Happy Thanksgiving, you heathens.
Fanta Blue says, Christianity is perfectly unified anyways. That's a good point. It's not. Mike Mick says, have you seen the new Spider-Man? It was great. Thanks for mentioning that, Mike. I have not seen it yet. And I'll end up seeing it soon. But have not seen it yet. All right, let's see. Next comment. We got this person who says, I think Carrier relies too heavily on peer review and credentials. The evidence is the evidence, and it's not better or worse evidence if it's marshaled by a PhD in ancient history or a truck driver. So the thing with using peer-reviewed evidence and getting your information from scholars in this situation, instead of just whatever random fucks on the internet or, Billy Bob the truck driver, is that you end up with people supposedly that can give you good information on it, people that know how to research these things. In New Testament scholarship, it's a little bit worse of a situation, but as far as like outside of New Testament studies, that general rule seems to hold. You go to the experts, the peer reviewed research, and people that have actually dedicated their lives to studying this thing, and you can generally trust that they know what they're talking about. And the reason why Carrier often points out that this is mainstream scholarship, or this is backed by peer-reviewed research and peer-reviewed journal articles and all this other stuff, is because that is the common that's the common thing that's levied against mythicism, is that it's not in the academic community. Like this topic is not being discussed, and it's not been written about from a mythicist point of view in academics. But the problem is that there's actually very little in the minimal mythicist position that's actually not held by the Christian mainstream scholarship in New Testament studies and history. There's very little. Don't get me wrong, the core of it is very much outside of that, but everything that surrounds it is peer-reviewed by the same people that are calling bullshit. So it seems kind of weird to criticize us for responding to people that say that we're not using like peer-reviewed literature. It's just it's kind of like I don't know, it's just weird. Right. Yeah. KC brings up a good point. It's not our criteria of requiring working scholars to have an opinion on this. There's a very hyper specific, there's a hyper specific category of scholar that apparently his historicists will only accept. But generally, even if the person that's pushing a historicist view of Jesus says something that the person doesn't like or doesn't agree with, they will just be like, I don't know who that fuck is. I don't care who he is. You're wrong. I've actually had somebody say that to me on the Twitters. Next up, we got Burn Bird, who says, peer-reviewed literature doesn't say these things. Carrier.
Listen, donating this much money only secures your seat in hell.
Rudy Kisley's possibly going to hell, saying, what's the positive testing rate by you? Is Spider-Man giving the eulogy at your departure? I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. I would love to have Spider-Man doing that. Oh, what's the positive testing rate by you? Oh, I have no idea there, Rudy. So sorry about that. Let's see. Carrier. You probably don't want to draw attention to the peer-reviewed literature, says, considering it refutes 99% of your arguments. Actually, it doesn't, because the peer-reviewed literature is used to support the mythicist core of minimal mythicism. I actually haven't seen any good refutations of the minimal mythicist hypothesis. So I don't know what he could mean by 99% of the argument is refuted by peer-reviewed literature. There's actually only been a few peer-reviewed reviews of Carrier's book on the historicity of Jesus. They've all like misrepresented or lied. I don't know which one, either unintentionally misrepresented or intentionally misrepresented what was actually in Carrier's book. So it's kind of hard to take them seriously when they haven't even read like what the mythicist argument is. So it's kind of weird.
Donating this much only makes me drink more.
Asexual Atheist says, Apple won't let me go to hell. The iPad doesn't allow a donation of $666. Oh, well, Asexual Atheist, that's actually because I believe for that amount, for Apple products, I think it's, what is it? I think it's supposed to be like $4.99, that it definitely does that for. But I do have a second one, a second donation value that will allow you to go to hell if you're on an Apple device. So I thought it was supposed to be the one closest to 666. Maybe it was like $3.99. I think it might be $3.99. Not sure. Why don't you test it out? I'm just joking. But anyways, yeah, so I don't know how the argument's refuted at all. Rascal Kerr says, I instinctively trust any non-MD who insists on calling himself a doctor. Well, so I mean, like, just because you don't have a medical degree doesn't mean that you can't call yourself a doctor if you've, gotten a doctorate. I mean, there are multiple uses of like titles and words. I don't know why it has to strictly be like medical doctor that somebody, ends up calling themselves a doctor. I don't know. That just seems like a weird kind of gatekeeping thing for somebody to try. All right, next on the comments, we got this guy, Domesthine Senior, who says, would love to see Bart E debate you. I have no doubt that he would wipe the floor with you. I don't know if he means like me or Carrier. I would love to see Bart Ehrman debate Carrier because I feel like that would be a really good debate. But the problem is that Bart Ehrman won't debate anybody on this subject, it seems.
Listen, donating this much money only secures your seat in hell.
Brian B is going to hell for saying Android. Oh, yeah. Yes. Can we talk about it afterwards? Okay. But yeah, so it kind of seems weird to claim this, considering that the one debate that Bart Ehrman has had over this topic, he had it with fuck, I have his face in my head. I have his books. I don't know why I can't think of his name.
Listen, donating this much money only secures your seat in
Caden
hell.
says, PC, we do what we want. Let's see. Incredible. Robert Price. Yes. I Heart Dogs. Got it. Robert Price. Sorry. Total brain fart there for a second. So he's only had the one debate with Robert Price. And I'm not saying that Robert Price is bad at anything. He definitely has a
Listen, donating this much money only secures your seat in hell. Oh, do y'all smell that candy corn?
Miss Christmas says, here's to my egg cracking celebration. And Fair Witness says, love my Android. And he went to hell for that. I'm not saying Robert Price is bad at this particular topic. I think that he definitely has a relevant, Happy Thanksgiving, you heathens. A relevant set of credentials for this. I think that he's definitely qualified to discuss this topic, but he did not do well in that debate. And I really wish that Carrier could have done the debate, but Bart Ehrman will not engage him. So I welcome an Ehrman Carrier debate, but it'll never happen. Stardust is next, but first we got Rudy Crisley, who says no movies, no Radio City Rockets. Grinch took it. Well, shit. Grinch took everything. Fuck. Let's see. Caden says, I don't watch YouTube on mobile. I watch GE on ultra wide monitors. Well, you know, plenty of people would say that you gotta have those ultra wides in order to fit my fucking big ass in there. Stardust is next up, saying mythicists are to atheism as Mormons are to Christianity. Bart's not necessarily mocking mythicists. He merely doesn't have an agenda aside from getting history, timelines, historical figures ordered correctly. I seriously doubt that, because Bart does have a teaching position. He's employed by a school, so he definitely has to worry about what he says and what positions that he holds. So I don't think that it's necessarily like, oh, I don't have any kind of agenda. It's kind of funny because he says that he doesn't have an agenda and that we have an agenda, like mythicists have an agenda, but mythicists are not employed by the institutions looking to push historicity. Like we're outside of that control, right? Mostly, not entirely. That's a nuanced position, but you know, I can talk about that later if necessary. But it seems to me like if there's anybody that would have an agenda, it would be the scholars that are employed by teaching institutions that are looking to push the historicist narrative instead of actually doing history. I'm not saying that that's the kind of institution that Bart works for or anything like that, but oh, can you smell the pumpkin spice? I'm just saying that I think that it's more likely in that situation that you would have an agenda. Just saying. We got Jason Cul-de-sac who says, has Apple saved Canadians from hell if I want a window seat? I feel like I got some brain fog going on here tonight because I don't know what in the fuck that means. Jason, thank you so much for your super chat though. Like Apple the company saved Canadians from hell? I don't know. If anybody could do it, it would definitely be Apple. All right. I gotta go get Bro Cephas, so y'all hang tight. I'm gonna go and get him, and then we'll be back. Okay, I'll be right back. Hey, Bro Cephas, it's time for your sermon. Luckily, I'm always prepared for a sermon. You know me. I got it in the back of my noggin. You got my slides ready and shit. Yes, slides ready. All right, so I'll give them good old Christian heave ho. What's up there, heathens? Y'all gone to hell yet? I guess not. Well, shit. Oh, shit. GE's about to die. I gotta, y'all don't look. I gotta use this passcode. Okay, yep. He's just, his heart's exploding. Anyways, oh, fuck. We gotta get, why don't y'all come to the church with me? I gotta tell y'all some shit. All right. What's up? How y'all doing? My name is Bro Cephas, and I will be your pastor today. Basically, the topic of today's sermon is how Christianity has definitely impeded moral progress through the teachings of the good book of Jesus Christ, the Holy Bible.
No, donating this much only makes me drink more.
You know, there's nothing more Christian than telling somebody to quit drinking, because as we all know, Jesus don't like that shit, even though he turns a bunch of water into wine. SN Belmont says, not sure if this will work in euros, but take my money anywhere. Well, it didn't work for going to hell, but I believe the hell one is 666. Let's see. Let me get that in the correct way. Let's see. No, I'm getting fucked up. To euro. 593 euro. Well, if anybody from Euro wants to try that out, then please do. We got Wizard of
The New World Order controls the weather, except when it comes to stopping tornadoes or hurricanes or wildfires or ice storms. Now, we all know that that was for sexual immorality as well as atheists just simply existing in our society. So that's the reason why all of those things are going on. Blame the atheists for all the tornadoes and shit. God don't do that, except where in Job, he says that he does that shit. Well, the Sirian has 753 USD. Did I do shit wrong? Let's see. 6.66 USD to euro. 593 euro. What's the 793? 891 in US dollars? I don't know. Anyways. Sorry, I'm just up here trying to get the collection plate all figured out and everything. That's the one thing that's important here at church is a collection plate. So pass that collection plate around. Let's get some donations going here, okay? This church ain't gonna operate on its own. All right? Fuck. Anyways, all right, I'm here to teach you guys how the Christian Bible has definitely impeded morality. Donating this much only makes me drink more. It's in Balmung. 593. Nope, that did not work. I don't think the stream elements work for anything other than USD. I did not know that. That kind of sucks right there. I'm so sorry about that, Balmung. Balmung's trying to get to hell, and he can only do euros, or they can only do euros. So I don't think that hell exists in Europe. No hell in Europe. You're safe there, Balmung. Or I'm sorry about that. I don't know which one to say. I don't know what y'all have heard, but donating is not going to make
There's Jason Kolosike. I screwed up. The earlier message was hoping for a seat to hell.
Donating this much
if it worked, I wanted a window seat. Apple is trying to keep me from spending the CDN loonies for a seat. Oh, fucking Apple. Daniel M. says the tornado that hit the Amazon warehouse is about 15 minutes from me. Holy shit. Damn, Daniel. I'm glad that you're okay there, bud. Anyways, let's talk about how shitty the Bible is. Let's talk about how good God is. Okay, guys? This is how good God is. Now, this right here is definitely how good God is. He says, but all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, well, fuck me, I picked the wrong one first. There. Now, therefore, kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that hath known a man by lying with him. But all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. Now, you could definitely read this and think, oh, well, as long as God commands it, we can definitely go in and pillage and steal people out of other countries and everything like that. This is definitely God giving us carte blanche to go to war and steal our fellow people. As long as they're not in our own village and shit. Not in our own country, that's fine. Let's see, what else do we got here? We got Exodus 34:16. And you take of their daughters for your sons, and their daughters whore after their gods, and make your sons whore after their gods. And make your sons whore after their gods. So, for this particular one, it's more about what are the implications for our modern society. Basically, what Exodus 34:16 says is that women are responsible for the lustful thoughts of men, and that's not lustful necessarily in the like I want to bone you kind of way. It's more lustful for either other deities or other people, I guess. The point is that women are to blame for it all. Okay, that's the major point you got to take away from this. And you can go to there's a lot of sermons online where you can hear I'm not.
I don't want to say real preachers because that means that I'm not a real one. Other preachers. I am a minister. You are totally correct. In the Universalist Life Church or something.
Tater's gonna
It's the only one that would have me. But anyways, you can hear other pastors out there preaching this exact same message, that women cause lustful thoughts in men, and so women are the ones that need to control that shit. You're gonna do what? Why are you gonna take my... I didn't do nothing. This is not me saying it, it's God saying it, okay? Jesus fucking Christ. Just give me my goddamn blankets back. Fuck. Anyways, so as you can tell, this is very morally restricting on societies in general because it places women in this very subservient role. Women all throughout the Old Testament, actually, and the New Testament, are in a very subservient role. And with all kind, to cause them to lust and shit. Yeah, but I mean, see, you get blamed for that, and so you get punished for it. It's not like you got a superpower where you can just make me think whatever in the fuck you want to and not have any consequences.
That would be fun, though.
If Jim Bob walks down the road and instantly pops a boner after seeing some other girl walk down the road, then it's obviously the girl's fault, and we need to punish her. There's also several other different verses in the Old Testament, like thou shalt not suffer a witch to live, that has caused several deaths in society. I didn't have that one pulled up, but there's just like Leviticus 19:20 says to kill homosexuals, stone them. It's their fault because they're the ones wanting to fuck their own gender or sex, whatever. They're wanting to fuck their own whatever. And you gotta fuck different, okay? That's the point. If you don't fuck different, then you're gonna get stoned to hell. Yeah, I don't see how this works or whatever this is. There's also a docking procedure that goes on. I don't know what else they do personally, but I've seen fucked up shit on the internet. I'm just saying that's what the Bible says. I'm not saying it. The Bible's saying it. Okay? But the reason why I didn't pull a lot of Old Testament verses tonight, even though I can name several off the top of my head, about how Christianity definitely wants something different than modern society and the modern moral norms and everything. The reason why is because other preachers and pastors and apologists can just easily come back and be like, hey, motherfucker, that's the Old Testament. We're Christians. We don't do the Old Testament. Nothing in the Old Testament holds because we're under a new covenant, you dumb son of a bitch. God damn it. Anyways, apparently I'm killing that one over there tonight. Anyways, while true, you're under a new covenant, but that new covenant has also said, do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. With a sword? Or my big ass Nerf gun? I actually got it right. It's not good. Got it. Sorry, it was in the rectory. Wait, the rectory's not the rectum? Alright, this is my little invisible gun here, but look. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. Yes, with my cheeseburger stickers. You know, I gotta have 3 of them every single day or else I'd die or something. Anyways, so, I mean, I get it. You could they could possibly say, oh, well, that's not what that means. Oh, no. Well, then I'm going to have to throw this one on you on turn 2. That says, not this. Hold on. Oh, shit. Did I not put this one on here? Well, fuck me somewhere that hurts. Nope. Well, I mean, I don't remember what the passage says. That's 5:17. Oh, wait, here it is. I do have it. There we go. All right, sorry, just a brief intermission there. And he said to them, you have a fine way of rejecting the commandment of God in order to establish your tradition. For Moses said, honor your father and your mother, and whoever reviles father or mother must surely die. Uh-oh. You know, we gotta keep up with this shit, okay, guys? Shit, I'm out of ammo. I'll kill you later. Anyways, so this is Jesus blatantly saying, like, look, you dipshits, you are not holding to the commandments of God. You're not doing what God has told you. Why haven't you killed these little hellions? Holy shit, that one over there just yelled, fuck you to his mother. What are you gonna do? Stone him? No, you're just gonna be like, oh, that's little Isaiah. Don't piss him off. He'll just start yelling and shit. He'll throw himself down in the middle of the supermarket. So you need to kill those little motherfuckers. I'm just saying. So here we have 2 passages, all right, where they explicitly state, where Jesus specifically states that, you know, you have to follow the old laws as well as the new one, the new commandments and everything. So any way that you want to dance around it, I can pull out more Bible verses where it shows the exact thing. So let's get into the New Testament and how that impedes moral progress. Like Matthew 5:32 here says, but I say to you that everyone who divorces his wife except on the ground of sexual immorality makes her commit adultery, and whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Basically, what you get out of this passage is that you should not divorce once you marry. There's also several passages where Jesus, as well as the other Christians, are like, hey, maybe you shouldn't marry because that puts you in a bind. But, so, what this seems innocuous at first, but what this means is that unless your wife commits some kind of sexual immorality, let's just say she scissors her best friend or something, unless she does that, you cannot divorce her, because then it's adultery, and then your ass is going to get stoned by the community, okay? Just putting that out there. Stone them, all right? And so you can't divorce whatsoever. This means that if you're in an abusive relationship where your spouse, whether that be wife or husband or whatever, is beating on you, you're not to leave them. You are not to divorce them. You have to be married forever to that abusive asshole. Unless you want to die and then you can cheat on them, but then, you know, you're going to die. So, but whatever. So this right here sets up this whole, the morality of, you know, divorce and all this other stuff. Also on the treatment of women. And you notice how it's not if the man commits sexual immorality. It has nothing to do with whether or not, like, the wife can divorce the husband. It's always about the husband divorcing the wife. Oh yeah, you're supposed to marry your brother's widow, and fuck her, reproduce with her, and don't come on the ground, or else God will shove a lightning bolt up your ass. That's what it says. I'll bring that one up here in a second. Next, we got Ephesians 5:22-24. Now, this isn't Jesus, but it's still in the New Testament. And I want to say Ephesians is by Paul. I'm the best Christian. Anyways, wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, his body, and is himself its Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to everything to their husbands. Now, what does this permit for? This permits for keeping the wife at home, in the kitchen, barefoot, pregnant or not. I guess it really doesn't matter. And, the wife is meaningless without a husband. Even in the Old Testament, you have the women being used to like trade and barter and everything. You can even sell your daughter into sexual slavery and everything. There's multiple verses for that kind of shit. And so what this does is it sets a precedent for the men being the head of the household and the women not really having any kind of control. This factors into like women's suffrage. It factors into, women being able to hold jobs in a similar manner as men do. It plays into a bunch of aspects of our modern society. And so a lot of aspects of our current moral code. Woo! That's KC's money. It ain't your money. Oh, well, I'm not married to you, so I guess it's your money. Anyways, so this factors into a lot of aspects of our current society and societal problems. And the fact that it's taken so long and so much work to just extend equal rights not only to women, but also the Black community and as well as the LGBTQ community, minorities in general. The reason why it's taken so long is because of Christianity having this shit in it, considering that, we're supposedly a Christian nation, which, I mean, I know that I'm Christian, but even I know that's bullshit, okay? Anyways, the next thing that I want to bring up, she's talking when maybe she should shut up. I'm sorry, go right on ahead. I don't want you to take my blankets. If women control the food, women control everything. See how far I get when my ass don't get its 3 cheeseburgers. Yep, message understood, KC. I got you. Anyways, the final thing that we're going to cover tonight is slavery. So here we go. This is Leviticus 25:44 through 46. It says, "Your male and female slaves are to come from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. You may also buy some of the temporary residents living among you and members of their clans born in your country, and they will become your property. You can bequeath them to your children as inherited property and can make them slaves for life. But you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly." So you can't enslave your fellow countrymen, but what you can enslave are people from other countries. Immigrants, Canadians, whoever really. Sorry, Canadians. But anyways, so this particular passage and the whole concept of slavery in the Old Testament has really fucked over society for a long time. Because without this understanding in the old, like if God were to have really existed, I mean, shit, he really does exist. I'm fucking Christian. Wait a second. Look, if this shit wasn't written by a person and was really written by God, I really don't think that he would be like, hey, go out and own people. You can own them. You can have them as property. They're not really human. I really don't think that he would say that. But, then again, who am I? Just a hillbilly up here on a pedestal. But my point is that the Bible directly endorses slavery. Slavery has impeded our moral progress for the longest time. Even in the 1860s or whenever the fuck Abraham Lincoln was alive. Donating this much only makes me drink more. Thank you, Dave Lee. Whatever in the fuck that was, he had to push really hard in order to get people to sign the amendment to abolish slavery. I mean, he had to go and convince people about it. Can you imagine nowadays having to go and convince somebody that slavery was not good?
I mean, that's happening for half of the country right now. We're having to try to convince people that slavery was bad. And that's a little sad, to be quite honest. But anyways, we got a couple super chats to read. We got Jason Kolisak, who says, every sperm is sacred. Monty Python. Who's your buddy? Says, Brocephus is the internet's most honest Christian. I try to be honest. God's honest truth here. Dave Lee says, did you just say 3 tree burgers? No, cheeseburgers. Double cheeseburgers, actually. We're gonna up the ante here. 3 double cheeseburgers. And I'm just like, is what I'm doing. Anyways, so that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you for this chance to really speak my mind there, Godless Engineer. I hope you have a good show, and fuck this Andy Bannister guy up, because he really kind of looks like a dickhead to me. I don't know. I mean, I know Christians are supposed to love each other no matter what, but fuck, I get a bad feeling from this guy. Anyways, I'll see you heathens later. Y'all go to hell, and whatever. Shit, I gotta prepare this stuff. Hold on. Alright, bye, you jackasses. God damn it, Persephone. What did I tell you about fucking telling my audience to go to hell? Alright? Alright. Woo! Alright. I know, he's such a savage, isn't he? All right, so we got Andy Bannister here on our nice little Christmas background. Merry whatever to everybody. I feel like that should be like the thing that everybody says now. It's just Merry whatever. But so we got Andy Bannister tonight. He's going to be telling us about moral progress and everything like that. So, all right. Let's do this, Andy Bannister.
Doesn't Christianity impede moral progress? That was the question.
Oh, this is backwards. Hold on. It's got a filter on there. 3D transform. There we go. It was backwards when it first came up. I didn't notice that.
One atheist friend recently asked me, and there's a few things lying behind that question. For some time now, many atheists have argued, look, we don't need God to be good. You know, we can be good without religion. And then Richard Dawkins, in his best-selling book, The God Delusion, a few years ago, took that slightly further, and he went, actually, you know, morality improves on its own. He talked about the moral zeitgeist, how, you know, year after year after year, as a society, we're progressing morally, and religion has been holding that back, but now we're free of that. And
so I do agree that religion seems to hold back society's progress in general. And I mean, you can cite multiple different ways in which religion has done this, or at least attempted to do it. Of course, there's the famous examples of women's suffrage, and also the continuous or the continued fight for equality with women, or women's continued fight for equality. Not to mention them, but also the fight for equality for pretty much everybody else other than old white dudes. White dudes in general. I mean, you could point to that. You could also point to like Benjamin Franklin and the lightning rod, because Christians said that him inventing the lightning rod was challenging the will of God, or at least trying to affect God's will. Because the thing was that oftentimes bell ringers would get struck by lightning. And if they were ringing the bell on a church, they thought that it was God deeming that person needed to die for whatever reason. Like, I don't know. He fucking called them home with like an instant message or something. So with Benjamin Franklin inventing the lightning rod, it prevented people from getting struck by lightning when they were ringing those ridiculous bells on top of fucking churches. So and it not only helped the churches, it also helped everybody else. The lightning rod did. But the point is that Christians thought that it was affecting the will of God. And so they saw it as a bad thing. In fact, religion has often seen a progress, whether that be technological progress, moral progress, societal progress, any kind of progress. Religion has really seen it as a bad thing, because what progress means is that we have this sort of ideal society where everybody survives and thrives, gets along with each other, and whatever, and people, don't succumb to the elements. People are taken care of, and all this other. Like, we have this idea of a utopia, basically, and we're constantly progressing to that endpoint. And it's always religion that tries to hold back progress, but then ultimately changes, and it seems to match, the progress that was achieved. Like, take Christianity, for example. Multiple times over, the past centuries, religion, like the religious interpretations of scriptures, has changed, and in order to accommodate the changing norms of society, societal norms, moral norms. The interpretation of holy books has changed for that. Now, a famous example you could say is slavery. The interpretations of scripture, the reasons why people kept slaves, those were all heavily religiously inspired. Now, I'm not saying like Christianity is responsible for like the slave trade in the antebellum South or anything like that. Or in the South in general, or the slave trade in general, because obviously slave trading was a common thing in the ancient world. It happened everywhere. It was just sort of a fact of life. But you see, the problem is that the world progressed forward in its moral understanding of slavery and the violation of human rights and all the other kind of shit. And so it just kind of seems like religion wants to stay stagnant. Religion doesn't want things to change. And so, does that mean that religion can impede moral progress? Definitely. Because if we hadn't broke past the barriers of religion and religious ideals several times throughout society, then we would still be living like fucking, ancient Israel, where if you were rude to your parents, regardless of whether or not they deserve respect, if you were rude to them, you'd get killed because God said so. Anything that's bad is anything that violates the will of God. And so anything that the Bible says would be the will of God. And if you violate any part of that, you deserve to die. I mean, the death penalty was a very common thing. And you can just read that in the Old Testament. So if religion's grasp on our societal norms, moral norms, hadn't been broken at least a couple of times, that is the kind of society that we'd still be living in. We wouldn't be living in the society that we live in now.
And some atheists have even gone even further and said, exactly, it's religion that holds back that progress. And if we just broke the shackles of religion, we could progress to utopia.
So I disagree a little bit right here, because it's not like we're looking to break the shackles of religion or anything like that. Religion attempts to hold back progress, but ultimately religion really can't hold back the momentum of the societies that we live in now. Now, as far as like when religion first started becoming a widespread thing, right, which had a long time ago, probably since the dawn of man, it was easier to control these smaller groups of people with religion. But because we have such diverse societies now, we have so many different societies and large societies, I really don't think that even religion can hold back the progress that's going to be made. It's just that the question is, does it impede progress? So we're not looking to break the shackles of religion. We're just looking for religion to fucking get off of our coattails and just, like, stop trying to slow us down. Just let us fucking go. What's wrong? Uh-oh. You did go downstairs. That's weird. Maybe a gremlin got it.
Does Christianity impede moral progress? Well, there's a few questions I'd want to raise there. First thing I'd want to say is that, there have been many books written on this subject by atheists pointing out just how much of the morality and the things we take for granted here in the West are profoundly Christian ideas. So someone like Tom Holland, who's an agnostic historian, wrote a massive book a couple of years ago called Dominion, really just looking at how all the things we take for granted in the West, from healthcare to human rights to justice, are actually profoundly Christian ideas.
Wait, human rights are profoundly Christian ideas? I don't really understand this. First off, hospitals have been around since ancient Greece. They've been around since ancient Greece. The ancient Egyptians, they also had hospital-like establishments. Now, it's true that they existed in a different form, but I mean, it was basically hospitals back then. So this whole idea of providing health care for people is not a purely Christian idea. Now, did our modern, like the more modern hospital system that we have, was that done by Christians? Fuck yes. And you could definitely tell by how much they gouge us on prices. I mean, it's almost like going to one of those churches that require a Sunday donation, or they'll send you a bill. Okay, that's what it kind of seems like. So if y'all want to take credit for that fucking bullshit, that's perfectly fine. But just because Christians were the ones that had the means, and they had the ability, I think, the means and the ability to set up hospitals and give care, I think that just because they had those things does not make them inherently Christian, or that they're solely responsible for these things. Right? They had the means because they manipulated people into giving them their money. That's right, honey. Do you want a mic? Okay. Now there's that with the hospitals, but also just to dismiss this whole idea of hold on. Oh, can you smell the pumpkin spice? But also to dispel this idea of, Christians, the healthcare system and everything like that, and Christians doing good in that area. I mean, you have several stories that you can pull up. Like, one is Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa was a horrible person. She did not want to help the poor. She wanted to make the poor comfortable before they died, is basically what her goal was, because, she didn't think that anything could change their situation, which we know is bullshit now. That's definitely impeding progress, especially moral progress right there. Moral progress in how we view the homeless, how we view poor people in general. Like, that factors into so many different things, but she's heralded as this great, iconic humanitarian. Do you want a mic? I know. Thank you. She withheld pain medication from her patients because she thought that being in pain brought them closer to God. And so there's that aspect. There's also the aspect of much needed healthcare services, like abortion and abortion related services, contraception. That's a big one. Even Mother Teresa was against contraception, but contraception is not morally bad. You could take any particular thing that the church has been against in the past and is seen as normal and actually positive now, and it directly refutes everything that this guy says, because it is not beneficial to human rights to teach that contraception is bad. And that's exactly what Christians did. And not only that, but, during the thousands of years where the Catholic Church, Christians had direct control over countries. They would have people slaughtered. Like they had Protestants slaughtered. All because they worshiped the same God differently. And so it just, let's see, there's that. There's the abortion related services. Here's another way. Abstinence only sex education. If you think that abstinence only is the only way to teach kids about sex, you are not pushing human rights. You are not an advocate for human rights. You just simply cannot say that. And considering that religion is primarily opposed to teaching kids anything other than abstinence only, never mind the fact that their savior was born of a virgin. They want to teach abstinence only sex. That only causes more teenage pregnancies. That only causes more unwanted pregnancies. And it's just a detrimental to our society in general. You cannot say that Christianity is about human rights when you're pushing that shit. And you can come up with several different things that religion wants to hold on to and refuses to relinquish, that's holding back progress in society. Whether that be moral, societal, or whatever kind of progress you want to say. It's morally reprehensible to deny these things to people. To deny a child a proper sex education. It really irks me, really grinds my gears that he says Christianity has been known for human rights, for pushing human rights. That's utter bullshit. Dylan Badolfson said, he just put a mic drop pair in there. And then we got Jason Kolasik, who says, has there been a modern day honor killing that come from the religious family?
I'm thankful for my liquor.
I am thankful. We got a liquor shortage coming up, so I'm going to have to stock up. Yeah, so Jason puts up an interesting question there. Because there have been mainly, of course, it's another Abrahamic religion, Islam, but they have had multiple honor killings recently. By recently, I mean in the past 10 years. I feel like that's definitely religion impeding moral progress. The fact that here in America, we have states that allow child marriages. And I feel like those are primarily religiously backed and religiously has religious grounding. Because, in the Old Testament, in the Bible, it was not all that uncommon for children, 12-year-old girls to get married off. I feel like all of these things are relics of the past, and the only reason why they're clutching on to modern society is because religion allows it. The religious ideals that are practiced by people allow these things to continue to exist, thereby impeding moral and societal progress.
Or the French historian Luc Ferry, in his book A Brief History of Thought, goes a similar direction, pointing out that in the ancient world it simply was not taken for granted that all human beings are equal. Everybody assumed that slavery was okay. Everybody assumed that some people had more value than others. And then Christianity, with its belief that all people, no matter what their background or gender or ability or race, were all equal before God, the foundation for human rights. Luc Ferry, the atheist, says, that's an idea for which atheists should be profoundly grateful.
So the the theology of Christianity does have everybody being equal in the eyes of God, right? But I feel like trying to transpose that idea to how people treated others here on earth is just a logical leap that would rival fucking Superman. Okay. So while the theology does teach that, that has no bearing on the slavery that was enforced by Christians all the way up until 1865, and then the inequality that the black community has faced in America after that point, primarily religiously based. I mean, hell, I remember when I was first starting out on this channel, I actually had a video taken down where a pastor back in, it was like 2011, 2012, I actually couldn't do anything with my channel for like 6 months because of it. But I just straight up put a sermon where this guy was arguing for segregation using the Bible. And it's because in the Bible, it teaches that you should not mix the races, considering that race back then was these different people groups like the Canaanites, the Midianites, and all them. That's why you have God ordering the Israelites to attack the Midianites. They were mixing with them. They were sleeping with them. God didn't like that because he doesn't like the races being mixed in the Old Testament, at least. Of course, apologists have figured out ways around that now, obviously. But the point is that there are pastors right now in America that teach segregation as a biblical concept. How is that not trying, at least attempting, to impede moral progress? And, he's citing these different atheists and everything like that. I really don't care what they say. I don't care what the Luke dude says or what the Holland guy says. I really don't care what they say. Because, you cannot argue that Christianity provided the foundation for human rights when it took, let's see, Christianity formed in the 1st century, and we didn't get rid of slavery until 1865. Women's suffrage was what, 1912 or so? Maybe 1920s? Yeah, 1920s. And then, of course, civil rights movement, 65. And even now, because there's not equal rights for minorities, including women, the black community, the LGBTQ community. I mean, hell, the LGBTQ community didn't even start getting equal rights until, what was it, 2014, 2015, something like that? When the marriage equality thing was passed. 2015? At the earliest, 1800 years. If Christianity provided the very basics for human rights, it wouldn't take 1800 years for it to take, at least rear its fucking head. It wouldn't have taken that long. It just amazes me how he can take this theology that everybody's equal in the eyes of God as long as you're a Christian, right? If you're not a Christian, you're not equal, right? That was the thought process. But also contained in the Bible, you're not equal to God's children. And so these people of other nations, not equal. You cannot say that everybody's created equal if you have so much division being wrought in the Bible. It just pisses me off. Andy Bannister pisses me off.
So that's the first thing. Actually, our society is far more Christian than many of my atheist friends have realised. But then secondly...
No. Society is actually antithetical. At least now, modern society, I'll say that. Modern society is antithetical to the Christian message. because the Christian message is that you're not supposed to, or at least is according to the theology, the whole theology of the Bible, you're not supposed to exist within the same space as like other not denominations, other religions or non-religious people. Like even in Romans, what was it? 14:1, I believe it was. No, or is it Psalms 14:1?
Oh, do y'all smell that candy corn?
I do smell that candy corn. Yeah. Sorry, it's Psalm 14:1 that says, "The fool who says in his heart there is no God, they are corrupt, their deeds are vile, there is no one who does good." That impedes progress in general, because that statement right there, Psalm 14:1, which is echoed by Paul later in the New Testament, that particular verse right there.
Donating this much only makes me drink more.
That single verse right there would have pretty much prevented us from winning World War II if people took it seriously and if people knew that Alan Turing was gay and an atheist. Because Alan Turing, if you don't know, which The Imitation Game is a pretty good movie to watch. I mean, it's a dramatization of the events surrounding Alan Turing in his role in ending World War II. But Alan Turing developed the first mechanical computer, digital computer, whatever. He developed the first one that was able to crack the Enigma code, right? And how they were able to do that is because the communication stuff sent by the Nazis always ended with Heil Hitler. So, like, whenever I actually just thought of this, whenever you see some dipshit Nazi out there that's like doing the whole arm raise and saying Heil Hitler and everything like that, that's the phrase that lost the Nazis the war, that lost everything for the Nazis. The phrase was Heil Hitler. That's what loses them the war, because they clued in, they zoned in on this, and they were able to decode within seconds every single Nazi encrypted message, and they were able to expertly control effectively the war after that point, which eventually resulted in the Nazis being defeated. Without Alan Turing, that would have not been possible. So you want to tell me that no atheist does any good? Fuck you, whoever says that. Andy didn't say that in this particular section. But to say that our modern society is reflective of Christian values or anything in the Bible, it just blows my fucking mind, because it's totally not. It's totally antithetical. Modern society is totally antithetical to the message preached by the Bible.
The moment you talk about moral progress, that raises an interesting question, doesn't it? Because progress implies a destination. You know, I'm a hiker. I love walking in the countryside. And if I was to ring my wife halfway through my hike to kind of catch up, and my wife was to say, "Oh, Andy, how is the hike going?" and I would say, "Well, I'm progressing," she'll assume that means I'm nearer the summit of the mountain, not lost in the woods with my lunch stolen by a pack of marauding squirrels. Progress implies that we're getting somewhere. And the question I want to say to my atheist friends is, if there is no God, what the heck is the destination? There's nowhere we're supposed to be. We're just blundering around in the wilderness. So that progress language is interesting. Which brings me to my final point. The Christian writer.
Well, so, like, we don't know what the perfect society is or what a perfect moral code is. But we are trying to progress ourselves, trying to educate ourselves, trying to understand this reality that we exist in and react in the most appropriate way so that, we can all survive and thrive live together in these societies without, people just dying all the time, without there being hatred between people and all this other, like, I don't think that those are things that can be realized, but I think that we can continue to progress to some kind of utopia, this sort of perfect idealized version of society. And I think that as far as like moral progression, societal progression, that's what we're talking about. I mean, we don't have to know what it looks like in order to progress in that direction. Like, I don't have to know what a building looks like in order for me to start, traveling to that building. You just have to know where you want to be at the end of it. And I feel like with moral progression, we just have to want, to promote the survival of our species and to promote good interactions between individuals within our societies. Like, I feel like I'm not saying that I'm the one to come up with like what the criteria would be for any of this. I'm spitballing ideas here about how you would describe it. Regardless of my inability to describe it, there is some kind of idealized destination that we are moving towards. Let's say we got going back to Jason Kolasek, who says religion was obviously sleeping at the wheel. S.N. Balmung says the Bible, the book with absolutely no trace of misogyny whatsoever. Equality. And then Daniel M. with his 21-month chat saying that dude is plagiarizing what others have done. Yeah.
And philosopher C.S. Lewis offered a very helpful analogy to help us think about morality and ethics and all of this stuff. He said, imagine a fleet of ships, perhaps a military fleet, out there on the ocean. And he said that fleet of ships needs three things in order to function well. First,
can you smell the pumpkin spice?
he said each ship needs instructions about what to do if it breaks down, how to maintain itself. And those instructions about how each ship should maintain itself, said Lewis, that kind of equates to personal ethics, the kind of ethics that tells us how to look after ourselves, how to behave well, and so on and so forth. But then secondly, he said that fleet of ships needs instructions about what happens as they interact with each other, who gives way to whom, if two ships are on the same trajectory. And Lewis said, that's rather like societal ethics. We need ethics that tells us how we behave when we interact with each other. But he said beyond all of that, that fleet of ships needs something even more important than those first two categories. That fleet of ships need to know why they are out on the ocean in the first place and what the mission is. And similarly for us as human beings, unless we know what the purpose of life is, why we're here, what the good life looks like, what it's all about, then any talk of morality or progress or everything simply collapses.
No, I mean, I don't think that there's an ultimate meaning to life. I mean, of course, in the Christian theology, the ultimate meaning to life is just, praising God, doing things that God likes. And if something that you want to do doesn't praise God, then it's bad and wrong, and you shouldn't do it. I mean, that's ultimately what the message is in the Bible about the purpose to life, as far as that goes. But I don't think that we need an ultimate purpose to life. Like, I don't think that we don't really need anything more than just survive, as far as like a reason why to promote, good morals, good ethics, or at least a progression in those areas. I gotta
tell you, I am thankful for my liquor.
I don't think that we need anything more than that in order to progress as a society. I think what he's getting at here is that Christianity provides this foundation with which to build off of, but the way that I see it is that foundation is just as fluid as the ocean that those ships are on, that C.S. Lewis is talking about, or the quote, whatever he was citing there. because the moral foundation and the foundation of Christianity in general is always changing. All throughout time, it's changed. So, I mean, unless you're going to sit there and acknowledge how your religion's changed, and then also acknowledge how that matches with how society changes. Society changes all the time. Social norms change. Arguably, social norms change a whole lot more than religious norms or a religion in general. But you understand what I'm talking about. Social norms change a lot. They change over time. They even change between societies. So we don't have to know what the ultimate purpose is to life or anything like that. We just all have to agree on the same goal. And that goal is to survive in our respective groups of people without killing each other. It's been especially hard the past year.
And of course, the Christian faith offers some profoundly helpful answers to that question. And some of those you can check out in other videos in the short answers.
Of course, we can check them out in the short answers. And yes, I'm not going to sit here and say that Christianity doesn't provide some kind of like goal or something like that. But see, the problem is that I never claim that Christianity doesn't. But they have always claimed that atheism doesn't, which is true. Atheism doesn't, but that's not the point of atheism. That's not the point of not believing in Christian bullshit. It means that if you're not a religious person, you have to look elsewhere for meaning and purpose. You create your own meanings and your own purpose. You have to figure that shit out for yourself. But, while Christianity does provide those goals and everything like that, the question is, does religion impede moral progress? And I have to say unequivocally, and let's actually get back to our home screen here. Unequivocally, religion definitely impedes any progress that society hopes to make. Moral progress, ethical progress, any kind of societal progress. Because what comes with religion is antiquated ideas. And those antiquated ideas stay stagnant until they are forced to change by society. And, we don't have to know, where we're going exactly with society, with our morals, with our ethics. We don't have to know where we're going with that. We just have to keep trucking along and grinding it out to figure out what is the best way that all these fucking people, all 7 billion of us, can live together without trying to murder each other and providing secure and stable environments for us all. And I don't think that we have to ultimately know where that leads. We just have to want to go in that direction. And I think religion doesn't want to go in that direction. Religion wants to stay stagnant. And you see this with their dogmatic take on these moral absolutes. The dogmatic take on, what God wants. And you can't violate what God wants until you get some kind of clergy member to say that, oh, God doesn't really want that because of this over here and that over there. And so that means God really wants this. And this could be anything from, the abolition of slavery to allowing women the right to vote, to allowing women the right to work, to allowing the black community to be treated equally, which they still haven't attained. We still don't treat the minorities in America like they're equal. How can you say that Christianity is the basis for human rights when Christianity has had 2,000 years already? 2,000 years. They've had 2,000 years, and we've had the basics of human rights, and we still have to combat racism. We still have to combat misogyny. We still got to combat all these things. Do you know how easy it would be for God to just put shit down in his book about how you're not supposed to own women as property or not supposed to think of women as property. But yet, at every single turn, it seems like in his good book, he designates women as property, as being lesser than men. While at the same time in the New Testament saying that we're all equal in the eyes of God. Except for you, you other people. You other people are definitely not equal. That would be like atheists, people from other nations, and everything like that. Like, it's just, oh yes, Miss Krismer brings up a good point. Transphobia. The LGBTQ community still has a lot of work ahead of them in the equality department, just like other minorities in America. And it just amazes me how somebody can sit there and paint Christianity as the foundation of human rights when that's just so demonstrably utter bullshit. Anyways, that's going to be it for our show tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you will, please go down below, leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought about my rants here tonight, because I know I had some lengthy rants going on. But we're about to get into the Skeptic Mafia comments right now. So if you don't want to stick around from that, it's perfectly fine. And if you will, though, smash that like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, if you like this kind of live stream content. And hey, don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens. But don't go, because we get Skeptic Mafia comments. And I am going to be getting to that right now, which I actually had to upload this video directly to my channel today, just so that I could allow people to comment on it, because the original video had comments disabled, which meant my post comments were disabled. So it was a little weird. Jonathan Hanachek, 24 minutes ago, he just says Mike her a whole bunch of times. Oh shit, hold on. I'm so sorry. I don't have the comments pulled up. Hold on, I'm fixing that. Oh fuck. All right, so we got Jonathan Hanchek saying, Mike her. Then we got Drew's Book Reviews, who says, I will leave a quote from Brian Greene's book until the end of time. One of my favorite reads this year and one of my favorite videos I've made this year as well, considering he mentioned the idea of God needing purpose. As we hurtle through the cold and barren cosmos, we must accept that there is no grand design. Particles are not endowed with purpose. There is no final answer hovering in the depths of space awaiting discovery. Instead, this certain collection of particles think and feel and reflect, and within these subjective worlds, they can create purpose. And so in our quest to fathom the human condition, the only direction to look is inward. That is the noble direction to look. It is the direction that forgoes ready-made answers and turns the highly personal journey of constructing our own meaning as the direction that leads to the very heart of creative expression and the source of our most resonant narratives. Science is a powerfully exquisite tool for grasping an eternal reality, but within that rubric, within that understanding, everything else is the human species contemplating itself, grasping that it needs to carry on and telling a story that reverberates into the darkness, a story carved out of sound and etched into darkness, a story that its best stirs the soul. Anyway, heathens, until next time, keep on reading. Thank you there, Drew. Next up, we got Jester, Lord of Fools, who says, ah, yes, let's tackle that profoundly Christian ideology where slavery is immoral, an idea that immediately came into existence upon the death of Jesus Christ in the late 17th century, Anno Domini. At this very moment, that most certainly did not occur, closer to the year 30 in the year of our Lord, if it even happened at all. Quakers popped out of Yeshua's arse and started proclaiming all of the morals that we suddenly and wholeheartedly adopting as Christianity just swept across the land. And everyone everywhere became great until Origin of the Species was published by Satanists. Ignore all the false history about the movement starting slowly in the 1600s, the centuries of discourse about it, and the war fought because Southern American Christians were worried that losing their rights to own other people as property and using the Bible to support their claims. No, I'm not sorry, but I believe in things and evidence, not evidence seen, not fairy tales. That instead of moving on from the slavery thing, kept fighting to bring it back as they continue to dehumanize anyone who believes differently from them. On a less salty note, join the Skeptic Mafia, where a third of your money goes to actual vetted charities that don't force their beliefs on others. Enjoy your night, and I can't wait until the second week of January when I should be there to frustrate everyone in person. Thank you there, Jester. Next up, we got Sean J. It says, I'm wondering when he will answer the question. Is it in a follow-up video? First, he deflects by talking about what some atheists have said about morals being based on the Christian faith, which is cherry-picking at its finest. Maybe if we say it enough times, these apologists will understand that atheism is not a moral position. Next, he moves to there being a universal morality, merely asserting it against his holy book. When you codify morality in a hard set of rules, such as the commandments, morals don't evolve and change. Thus, a given population's culture changes or attempts to change. A rigid codified morality held by a portion of the population resists actively and passively the changes needed for morals to progress. I agree there, Sean. And then we got I Heart Dogs, who says low on substance, high on quote mining, typical apologist, fail well. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Join the Skeptic Mafia and help support charity. Thank you so much there, I Heart Dogs. And we got Grifter's Deuce. It says, oh, Andy, railing against atheism. Classic Bannister. Sadly, he's about as useful as a balsa wood banister. Next, we got Command Cyborg, who says, hello, world. Quite a bunch of kinds of Christianity and other religions has been holding back progress in a bunch of different ways. Clergy diddling kids and covering it up about it. That's a good point. Thinking that Christianity has provided the very basics of human rights, when for at least 1,000 years or more, the Catholic Church was diddling little kids. And yeah, and they're still diddling little kids. It even happens in the Protestant churches as well. So, it seems to be like Christianity in general is kind of fuckered in that way. The stance on condoms furthering the spread of HIV. Yep, I did remember to mention that, although I didn't connect it to HIV. But the Catholic Church is notorious for promoting anti-contraception stuff in Africa, where the HIV pandemic was the worst. And so imagine saying, oh, Christianity's built on human rights, but also, hey, this little rubber thing that you could easily slide on your dick, don't use it. Even though you'll probably come down with an incurable disease because of where we're at in the world currently, don't use it because God don't like it. And that's apparently human rights. It's like, hashtag human rights, y'all. Blocking stem cell research. That's another one. Another way that it impedes progress. Huh? They could have already cured diabetes. That's right, hon. Yep. But I'll have to wait for a mechanical pancreas, I guess. Let's see. Church-driven schools for indigenous people. Ooh, yeah. That's a good one to bring up too. Defending chattel slavery, being general dicks about SGM populations, and so forth and so on. What the guy who wrote about the Narnia thinks on it doesn't matter too much. There's been new bigotry science in his days. Smash all the buttons. Thank you and good night. Transmission terminated. Thank you so much. Their command cyborg. Next, we got Uhan Roderick, who says, the journey is the reward. Steve Jobs. Problem solved. As far as the Christian morals in Western society, no. Get a new argument. Stop quoting C.S. Lewis. It's boring at this point. Don't forget to take that like button out to an expensive dinner right before the check comes. Excuse yourself to the restroom. Climb out the window without leaving the like button with the check. Also, smash a subscribe. Just do it. Join skepticmafia.com. Alex Baranowski says, just a few seconds in and I'm already calling BS. He talks about atheist friends of his. Somehow I don't see how he has many, if any, atheist friends. Then he invokes Richard Dawkins. Boo. Yeah, I didn't feel like covering that because I was already going to be too ranty about all the bullshit that he said. So, yes, definitely boo to Richard Dawkins. His whole speech about the Exton books on morality are an example of counting the hits and ignoring the misses. I will give him props for the video's background this time, fewer distracting items. I didn't bother to watch beyond his chat about his wife hiking with him. What I did bother to do was to join the Skeptic Mafia. For a nominal price, one can progress towards membership in GE's cult, where we vote on videos, leave comments like this. I probably won't catch tonight's stream as I'm working on orchid seed stuff. But remember to wash your hands and wear a mask and get those jabs. Thank you, Alex. Then we got Wizard of Oz. That makes sense if you don't know anything about actual human history. That's true. You don't know shit about human history. It makes total fucking sense, right? Then we got Daniel M., who says, no moral progression without Christianity? Let's rephrase that, shall we? No moral progression with Christianity. I understand that there are progressive Christians who accept people for who they are, but it seems every time there are equal rights laws passed, the Christians are dragged along kicking and screaming. He either doesn't know or is being dishonest about this fact that about the fact when slaves were being freed, people used the Bible to try them, or the Bible, to try and keep them captive. Ending segregation? Bible's against it. The right for the LGBTQ to marry how they wish? Bible against it. Hell, if someone wants to spill their seed all over that sock, guess what? Bible against that too. Anyway, if crispy socks don't bother you, consider joining the Skeptic Mafia. Who's leaving crispy socks places? I need to clean this fucking Skeptic Mafia club up. They're all no crispy socks in the Discord. Maybe that should be the next emoji, a crispy sock. There are all kinds of perks, and it's just plain fun. Join today. Thank you, Daniel. Next up, we got SN Balmung, who says, it always baffles me when Christians bring up slavery, when not only does the Bible condone and even commands it, but the fucking Pope sanctioned the transatlantic slave trade. To say nothing of all the LGBTQ people who are driven to suicide just because they live in a heavily Christian environment. Sorry if that sounded angry. I guess this one hit harder than I realized. Insert a shilling here. You know, SN, I feel you on that one because I didn't realize I was going to get all ranty tonight, but fuck it, I got ranty. Yeah. Oh yeah. Is it extra crackening? He starts by saying there are books written by atheists. No reference to them further, but he sings the praises of authors and writings that are on his side. I'm glad I wasn't drinking anything when he said that all are equal in the eyes of God. You want to talk about a spit take? I'll leave at that there, as there will most probably be others in comments to ask some of the questions I may have. Like, subscribe, and share if you want to be special like us. Then join us in the Skeptic Mafia. Here's GE to tell you some cool stuff you get. And remember, a portion of your membership goes to charity. because that's what us evil heathens do. We're just shitty fucking people. You get the emojis right there. We actually, I think that we need to have a Skeptic Mafia hangout on Saturday. Crap. Yeah, tomorrow. So if let me know in the side chat right now if any of the Skeptic Mafia can make it tomorrow. So we'll plan on having it then. Then we got Jonathan Hanachak, who says no, just no. Then we got Miss Chrismer saying looking at Christianity's morals makes it abundantly clear that it's abhorrent and should be left behind. Then again, as a moral nihilist, I don't think morals really exist in the first place. Ethics, yes. Morals, no. Anyway, to keep this short and sweet, here's your ASCII fresh out of the oven. Are you kidding me? Because really, are you? I mean, the Bible supports slavery, murder, the R word, among others. Oh, the R word's graping, by the way. Among any other atrocities, as long as you do it in the name of God. Anyways, now that we're done with that, insert a generic shilling here, and since this is apparently my sign out now, blessed be, and I love you all, bye my lovelies. Thank you there, Miss Chrismer. Generic shilling. You get to pick, like, so for the Skeptic Mafia, I put up a choice whenever we're doing a live stream. You guys get to pick what video we review. I give you 3 choices, and you guys get to pick between those 3 choices, and that's what we do that week. So, if you want to, join in on that, helping us make content here, then definitely, consider joining the Skeptic Mafia. And then, look, we got Jonathan Nickel saying Christians like Andy seem to want to usurp morality, and he gives healthcare, human rights, and justice. I don't see Christianity as being the basis of any of those. Ancient healthcare practices were more than a little barbaric, bloodletting, leeches, etc. It was Pasteur, not the Bible, that gave us germ theory. In the U.S., healthcare healthcare is a for-profit business, not a human right. Would Andy and other Bible believers extend human rights to women, minorities, LGBTQ individuals? If you want to talk about rights in the Bible, how about those rights of slaves? All equal before God. Women weren't equal. Homosexuals weren't equal. Slaves weren't equal. Even if a line or two preached equality, the rest of the book paints a very different picture. Clearly, we do not need the Bible for morality, and if we base our moral values on that book, we'd still be living in the Dark Ages. I couldn't agree more there, Jonathan. Thank you for that comment. Yeah, Zach Clark saying, been behind on watching videos for a while and then finally caught up. I'm excited to finally catch you live tonight. Thank you so much, Zach, for catching us live. I don't think that any comments were held in review. Nope. Yeah, and we double checked it. Casey checked, and then I just checked. So that's going to be it for our show tonight. I hope you guys liked it.
I gotta tell you, I am thankful for my liquor.
Uhan! Uhan says, yo, and then also a random super chat. As a bit earlier, Essen Baumung said, it's obviously much better to have a goal, the happiness of a magical invisible sky daddy rather than the actual humans. I know, right? We all want the magical sky wizard to be happy with us rather than actual people, right? That's who we care about. Lucrezia Cosplay says the same C.S. Lewis who had Santa give weapons to children? What? C.S. Lewis had Santa give weapons to children? Holy fuck. Oh yeah, our local baseball team's giving, or high school baseball team is giving away an AR-15 in a raffle. Yeah, I feel like they're doing it to raise money for the team, but I feel like that, read the room. You know, like, read the country right now. Giving away a gun, especially an AR-15, who's responsible for more deaths in school shootings of children, and a high school baseball team is giving it away to somebody. Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. You know, I need to go and take care of my my sugar and everything like that, because my phone screamed at me right at the very beginning of this. SM Balmung in the side chat said, "America, fuck yeah!" Anyways, it was awesome hanging out with everybody tonight. Okay, most everybody's able to make it tomorrow. That's great. Anyways, I'll have a post up early in the morning for you guys, and then I'll let you know when we're gonna be doing it. Plan on it being like around like 4 o'clock tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central tomorrow, and yeah. So it's good to see everybody in the chat talking it up and everything. Appreciate you guys, and I guess we will see you heathens after the new year, because I won't do one. I think the next 2 Fridays I'll be taking off for Christmas and for New Year's, and so we'll be back second week of January. So I'll see you guys in 2020 part 2. Bye, heathens. Hold on one second.